A major focus today was the ongoing systemic racism within the justice system and the need to create more First Nations police services. Between August and November 2024, there were 10 First Nations deaths following interactions with the police. This led to an emergency resolution at the AFN to call for a national inquiry into the high number of First Nations deaths caused by police. Jerry Swamp is president of the First Nations Chiefs of Police Association. He says the policing model through the First Nations and Inuit policing program is unchanged since 1991. At that time, there were 51 First Nations police services in Canada. Today, that number stands at 36.
And culturally responsive policing, I always wondered why they put that in a First Nation policing agreement. We're already culturally responding to our communities because we live the culture. How come they don't put that into mainstream model policing agreements? Maybe we wouldn't have the deaths that occurred last year.
BC Regional Chief Terry Teegee's relative was one of those who died after an interaction with the police.
So certainly we know this isn't an isolated issue, but a pattern of experience by First Nations people across this country. Every day, the interactions with policing and justice services.
The underfunding of First Nations police services was a concern of many at this week's assembly. A decision from the Supreme Court of Canada last year found that Quebec had breached an agreement by underfunding police services in a First Nation community. Lawyer Benoit Amiot spoke about how the case applies to a larger picture of massively underfunded and undersupported services across Canada.
The primary objective of this complaint was to get recognition that the discrimination against the Mashteuiats Community Police Service is not isolated, but is applied in a similar manner to all Indigenous police forces in Quebec, but also in Canada.
Sis Mohan, CBC Indigenous, Winnipeg.